We're on.
Good morning, everybody. Today is Thursday, May 17th, 2018. It's MMA Junkie Radio, the pre-show before the show. I'm Goz.
Yeah.
That's Dan Tom. That's Danny Okers. We are talking about eating alone. I do not like it. I don't like to eat alone. I don't like to go to the movies alone. And if I go to the movies and I see somebody there alone, it makes me feel very awkward.
Dude, I used to go to the movies alone, like in high school sometimes, just because I love movies so much and I live close. And also I have that weird loner gear.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I co-sign with Go so much that my favorite part of a relationship is not the well, it's the pre-show. It's not the sex. It's actually having company to go eat. Like, I don't know, and I don't know if it's me getting older or what, but like seriously, like it's just, oh sweet, I could freaking have an excuse to go places, not be a creep. Mm-hmm. You know, just showing up there like the Jonah Hill scene from Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Like that was my biggest fear, right? Immortalized on film. Like, by yourself, you want a magazine or something?
I can't do it. Dude.
One of my favorite scenes in Forgetting Sarah Marshall is that scene.
It's great, right? It's amazing. It's amazing.
Just one. Oh, do you have somebody meeting you? No, just one.
By yourself?
2 minutes. 2 minutes. Yeah, I refuse to go to the movies alone. I won't eat alone either. I have just like once or twice, like if I had to, but I will never, even if it's a movie that I'm dying to see, I will wait until somebody else can go.
Yep. That's the way it should be.
I refuse to ever go alone.
By the way, I exaggerated that first part, but it still ranks high, though, eating.
Oh, yeah. My favorite part is when he's got to sing the Dracula song.
Oh, yeah,
he goes,
great.
Dracula song, woo, and he still fights her on it, and then you just hear, sing the fucking song.
Yeah.
We know Goz's favorite part.
There's a few.
Yeah, there is.
Dracula.
Angry kimchi fries.
Oh.
That sounds really good and really, like, messy.
Okay. I don't like kimchi.
Coming up in a minute.
You don't like kimchi?
No, man.
Should I state the obvious racist comment or not?
I'm not Korean. Go ahead.
That kind of blew up in your face.
Bury yourself, Goz. Here's the shovel. Dig away.
Just saying, like, just saying, it's
Hands
part
goes the
of
shovel,
that,
steps back.
All y'all look alike type thing. Like, it was just,
Danny, get that drop.
Coming up in 30. I am recording, so.
All y'all look alike.
Is Bellator called in?
No.
Negatron.
I will let you know as soon as we get anything. We are coming up in 15 seconds.
Sounds good.
Stand by. Coming up.
Thanks, Danny.
This is your captain speaking. We are making our descent into Las Vegas McCarran Airport. On behalf of our crew, we'd like to thank you for flying MMAjunkie Airlines. Now please fasten your seatbelts and put your tray tables in your upright position because the descent is going to be a little bit bumpy.
Alright, Junkie Nation, it's time to roll, baby, on MMA Junkie Radio with Gorgeous George and Goz. This is what we doing while we do it, baby. All night long, we rollin'! Yeah!
The MMA Junkie Radio revolution is upon us.
Can you dig it?
There's no escape. No escape. Through the vast frontier of cyberspace and through a sea of stars in outer space.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've solidified our combat communications stranglehold.
We are controlling transmission.
With the use of MMA Junkie Radio and SiriusXM satellite radio technology. MMA Junkie Radio. Commence transmission. Live from MMA Junkie Radio HQ in the fight capital of the world, Las Vegas, Nevada. Here are your hosts, Gorgeous George and Goz.
From the fight capital of the world, inside the beautiful Mandalay Bay Racing Sportsbook, you are listening to the MMA Junkie Radio Show, the only show that matters. I'm your host, Gorgeous George. With me, as always, is the devious and dastardly Goes, our ace co-host. To my left, it's the fight analyst, Dan Tom. And back east, producing the show, as always, Danny Otto. What's up?
What up?
What's going on?
Not much.
Good
Got
morning.
a packed show, man. Might even have one more guest I haven't told you guys about.
This is a surprise.
They're just throwing them at me, man. I don't know what to do.
Parachute from the top.
You can't deflect, certain names. Yeah, something like that. But it's not locked in just yet. For now, we're just gonna go with our awesome lineup that we put together for you. Started things off with Michael Venom Page. Nothing yet, right, Danny?
Nothing yet. We actually we have a caller, but we don't have anyone from Bellator yet.
Yeah. Page will call in soon to Bellator. He's fighting at Bellator 200 versus David Rickels. We also have the winner of The Ultimate Fighter, Episode 5 from Season 27, Mike Trizano. Did I get that right?
Trizano?
Trizano, yeah, sorry. Trizano.
I'm guessing. Yeah.
Mike Trizano, the Lone Wolf. He'll be on the show.
I like the Twitter handle.
Team Stipe Miocic is now gotten a win. So they're down 4-1, but they have a chance to make it 4-4. But still, obviously a lot of momentum with Cormier's team. Thailand Clark took the loss for Cormier's team. So we'll definitely talk a little bit about that and talk to Mike Trizano. And then in the second hour, we're going to have the Cuban Missile Crisis. He's coming back to co-host the second hour. He's bringing a friend of his. He's picking him up at the airport, and then they're coming straight here. Who is it, George? It's your boy, Eryk Anders. So
Very cool.
yeah, he'll stop by. And Junkie Nation, as always, you'll be one of our guests. You always are. Those that you like to call in, you're part of the show. 866-522-2846. In fact, let's take this one right quick because I know we'll hear from Bellator soon, and then after that we're hearing from the UFC. So things are going to move fast. What's up, Brandon? How you doing?
Hey, Julian's on the studio yet?
No, not till the second hour.
Look, I just called y'all show to talk about Taylor Swift and Julian. I'll talk to y'all later, guys. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Did you watch the show last night, Goose?
I did. What is it about Tough? And anytime anybody's ever been kind of like cocky or brash on that show, they always lose. Have you ever noticed that? It's almost like writing on the wall. When you just see them get like at the weigh-in, get in someone's face.
And this one's tough because they're all undefeated. It's not like you can pick them out. But I think the producers know. They look at records. They look at some film.
Maybe they try and make him look.
He's all right, but he's going to be a comedian or a nuisance in the house. Let's bring him on. But in this one, they're all undefeated, so it's hard to really pinpoint.
As he was acting up, I could just tell. And I don't know if it's the magic of editing, like the producer.
Well, Dulani looks like even more of a handful. He fights.
So I don't know.
Does he fight next week?
Next week is the guy that got hurt, his knee, versus no, the guy that they brought up was
so
kind of.
Dulani's yet to fight, right?
A little chill, yeah.
Yeah. Have you caught up yet, Dan? Hell no, right?
I am still
You're
swimming.
Still on season 13?
I'm swimming in UFC chili footage. I'm in the week-to-week grind, man. We're currently in a back-to-back stretch of UFC and some Bellator mixed in there. So all my free time is literally dedicated to fight footage, other UFC programming, I should say.
All right.
So I'm working on other parts of the show.
Dulani, let me see. Next week is Suman. That's right. Suman Mokhtarian versus Ricky Steele.
That was pretty funny, right? Did you notice that? And I'm gonna ask our guests this, but some of that drama outside of the fight actually got so much airtime that it might have taken away a little bit from two individuals that actually fought.
Yeah. Talking about the coach from Cormier's team?
Yeah, that, and then something else too. Pena's injury a little bit. They talked about that, right? It was just, I don't know. It was like, and then the possible fight with Tyler Diamond. It just seemed like some of that stuff kind of took up some of the time that on other episodes was used to introduce the character a little bit more.
What'd you think of the fight?
It was okay.
The other ones have been way better, right?
Yeah, but it wasn't bad.
Clark just gassed too early. I mean, he had the moment where he dropped Trizano, but he wasn't able to capitalize. And you could tell right around that time, or maybe a minute after, Trizano started putting it on him with the grappling, up against the fence, then on the ground. And you could tell when they went back to each other's corner, Thailand Clark, much like any other guy that's ever gassed, will be able to catch his breath, have a second win, third win, wherever they're at, and then again be able to come out and maybe give you a minute, maybe two, maybe half the round, and then boom, there's this other big drop, and Trizano and his corner recognized it, and they went after him. So it was cool to see the baddest man on the planet, Joe Warren, and he was telling him exactly that. Get after him. Put the pressure on him. Put a pace on him. And I still obviously enjoying DC's coaching because he was not giving up on his guy. Was telling him, that's what I like to hear out of a coach. You cannot accept that position you're in. You need to get up. You need to make an attempt to get up. You cannot accept that. And you could tell Tylan, he was able to rally Tylan Clark to get some underhooks, to get his back to the wall, to begin the process of getting up. But the other guy was just too much. He didn't have the wind in the sails. But at least he was listening and he was trying. So, there's a few things you can gain from a loss. Some are really into that kind of stuff, finding things about themselves, pushing themselves. I think Thailand, obviously, that's just too winded for me in a 2-round fight. He needs to address that. But he was able to at least, I think, probably prevent himself from getting finished a lot earlier. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I think it was just tough that he couldn't get out of some of them situations. And I thought at the end, I thought Mike could have poured it on a little bit more because I thought he had him in some really bad positions where had he just poured it on a little bit more, that fight could have got stopped even sooner. But luckily the referee, I think, just kind of showed a little pity and just jumped in.
The one and
only
only
it
Chris
wasn't too bad, right?
Yeah, he told him, and he talked to him. He talked to him that he needed something out of him. It wasn't the worst beatdown. It wasn't the worst stoppage I've seen, where there's a beatdown taking place. But I think he was just done.
I think he recognized that.
He answered every time Thailand tried to get up. Trizano put it on him. Was taking away a limb. Anything that allowed him to post, and he was just getting back to the same position. He was just taking up probably unnecessary blows. I'm always saying, hey, go to the end, but I can recognize the stoppage. Again, there's early, there's middle, there's late, there's very late, there's very early, and I thought this was kind of like maybe in between early and appropriate. Let's take this call from Marco from Waco, Texas. What's up, Marco? How you doing?
Marco from Waco, ¿qué pasa?
What's up, bro?
Go.
I didn't mention that Puto Guineri is a freaking Argentino concha su madre. Did I mention that?
No,
I think yesterday, yeah. Who was it that changed their? Was it you?
Yeah. I was about to
talk to Marco.
Clean.
Yeah,
I was about to come clean on that.
Talk to Marco there. Our buddy here, Dan Tom.
Dude, I was
going with Canetti.
I actually was like, oh man, good thing I'm going with Diego Rivas was my early pick after Marco's call. But it's a close fight. But I actually ended up siding with Canetti. So all I'm going to say is I'm not going to state my case here. I'm just going to ask for Marco's forgiveness ahead of time because I do respect Marco. It's one of my favorite. As far as the matchup goes,
yeah.
I don't want to take a Marco's call. If he wants to hear it, sure. But I just wanted to apologize to Marco ahead of time.
Actually, every once in a while, it's just nice to say, "Fuck Marco."
All right.
Let's hear it, Dan.
No, I just feel like Diego Rivas
might be part of my parlay here, man. I like what I hear.
They both got some sketchy sample sizes, and it's tough. You see a 37-year-old bantamweight, especially a guy who's got knocked out twice in his somewhat recent last 4 years, which is Guido Canetti. But you look at guys who got stopped by, they were the perfect shots against guys who can hit like an Alejandro Perez and whatnot. And they're kind of respectable. That I'm not saying the guy has a high ceiling, but when I look at Diego Rivas, it's tough. I feel like he's still trying to get his identity. Is he a striker? Is he a grappler? He does really good when he's grappling on top, but he's consistently giving away positions, making very kind of more, I'll just say like blue belt level mistakes more than black belt level mistakes, if that makes sense. If that's kind of a nice way of saying it. And he's kind of giving up transitions a lot. I don't know if he's going to get Guido Canetti down. And Guido Canetti is kind of like Gabriel Benitez, who actually beat Diego Rivas. He's a southpaw kickboxer, but underrated wrestling, and that's Guido Canetti. Guido Canetti actually has always had underrated wrestling to go with his hard southpaw kickboxing style, and that wrestling's gotten better because he spent the last 2 years training with Team Alpha Male, and we've seen kind of guys resurge, and even older guys go there and kind of pick up their career, especially for a guy who's training
in a factory over there, man.
And this guy was training who knows where in Argentina, so I'm sure it was an improvement going to Team Alpha Male, and he pushes a harder pace, and Diego Rivas has that counter right hand, and of course he has that knee he hit Noad Lahat with. By the way, scariest. I'm sure you guys have some scariest knockout you've been in person for.
In person.
In person for that the Noad Lahat versus Diego Rivas. Go look at that. And by the way, I'm super sympathetic to Diego Rivas. He's the only Chilean on the card, so I feel guilty but he's also the second cancer survivor who's on the card next to Tatiana Suarez, which is responsible for one of Diego Rivas' layoffs. So, again, my heart's going to be with Rivas for this. I love his story. I feel super guilty picking against him, but I honestly just see more paths to victory for Guido Canetti.
Fair enough.
What is the most brutal knockout you've witnessed in person?
Well, did we count that leg break of Anderson? Because I was like, oh, like I watched it.
No, I think it's got to be a knockout.
You want to see like a removal from consciousness type thing?
Let's just start here. We were at Nate Quarry and Rich Franklin.
So but we were so high up on that one.
But still, we were there.
And I think Jordan and Gonzaga had put us to sleep the fight before. Wasn't that one? Yeah. In person. Oh, you know what, man? I saw Tony Ferguson lay out Ramsey at the finale. I had a great seat. That's my first time where I had like 50-yard line. I was up on the stage, and I couldn't have asked for a better seat, but that damn fucking post was there.
Oh.
And I was like, that makes no sense. I think that and a big old fat cameraman was next to him. And I thought, what more do you want? What if two guys go like this, like Max Holloway and Ricardo Lamas? They just go right here. They point to the ground. Let's throw down in the middle. Most fans would be like, fuck yeah, right? Not me. I would have been like, no, do it off to the side. And I conveyed that to Zuffa. I go, guys, this can't be. I had the picture, and I sent it to some of the execs. This can't be, man. I don't get good seats very often, and a buddy of mine was a player at the Palms, and he had one, and we sat there, and I watched it, and I was in that position, and it just didn't work out, man. And guess what? They moved the cameraman behind the post. You know, that's what it was. It wasn't the post. It was the cameraman. So the posts were to the side, and they had a camera in the middle. I go, just put the cameraman to the post. And they said, no, it's the angle. I go, fuck the angle. You know, what about the people that paid a lot of money? Luckily, I didn't pay, but those people around me, like, rubbernecking and going, what the hell? So ever since then, they changed it because of my letter. I'm just kidding. We got to go to break. Let's do that. We got to shift things around right now. We have not heard from our first guest. It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be back, and we'll be talking to Mike Trizano.
They were kicked off the set of The Fast and the Furious for being too loud and too good-looking. Once again, here's Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, folks, don't forget on Wednesday nights, catch The Ultimate Fighter. They're on season 27. It's called Undefeated. We just passed up episode 5, and that is why Team Cormier is up 4-1. The first 4 weeks went to Team Cormier. However, this past week went to Team Miocic. The winner there was Mike Trizano, who got a win over Thailand Clark. Trizano joins us now on the hotline. What's up, Mike? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How's everything?
Good, good. Thank you for joining us here on the MMA Junkie Radio Show. You're on with George, Goes, and Dan. Congratulations on your win last night, even though we know it happened months ago, but we're just calling it last night for the purposes of this show.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
But you gotta agree, even though it happened months ago, last night probably felt pretty good, right? You probably got a lot of text and emails and some pats on the back, and I'm sure you watched it with some homies.
Oh yeah, my phone was blowing up, but I actually rented out a movie theater from the town I grew up in, and I had a lot of people come through, and we watched it on the big screen, so it was a pretty cool night.
How many people turned out?
We had probably close to 50 or 60 people there.
Nice.
That's pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, you got a good team around you that pushed that, or are you just a popular dude?
Everybody loves me, man. I'm a good guy.
I love it. All right. And how was that experience? You guys watched the whole 1 hour episode, and did you get up and talk to everybody, or how was the whole night?
Yeah, no, I mean, I got there a little early, and I greeted everybody that came in and stuff like that, and then we all sat down and watched the whole episode. We even stayed after and watched the little half hour of tough talk, and everybody was pumped. Like the whole place erupted when I won, and it was a cool feeling. I mean, I felt like it just happened, but it did happen a few months ago, so it was cool.
Man, I'm digging it. So were most of this family and friends, or were these fans of yours, or both? I guess.
It was a mix. It was a lot of family, a lot of friends, a lot of students that I teach in Tiger Showman's came out, and I had some kids that came. I know it was late, but some kids showed up too, so it was cool for them to see their instructor doing well.
Man, that is awesome. Hey, if you don't mind, how much does that set you back? I mean, it was a Wednesday night, so it's not like it was a weekend. Are we talking 4 figures, at least $1,000, or is this something that's in the hundreds to be able to rent out a whole theater like that?
No, it's not that much. It's a few $100, and it's a small theater. It's not like I rented out an AMC or something like that.
Okay, all right. I'm digging it, man. That's a dude that's looking out for the big moments in his career, sharing it with family, friends, fans. There you go. Way to give a fuck about your career. There's so many fighters out there that I swear to God miss these opportunities. My hat's off to you, Michael Trizano.
Look, life is short. I want to make the most of everything that's going on right now. I don't want to waste a single second.
That's right. All right. Goes. What do you have for Michael Trizano?
Mike, I loved last night's episode. I thought you had a great performance. The one thing that kind of bothered me a little bit was I felt like with all the antics outside of your fight, with Tyler, with Suman, with some of the coaches, I felt like it took away a little bit from what you guys were doing. In past episodes, I felt like the fighters were really highlighted, and they did touch on you guys, but I just felt like it took away a little bit from that. Did you get the same feeling watching the episode?
No, absolutely, I agree. I mean, I was talking about that with a lot of my family and friends and stuff, and they were all like, why is this whole episode about these guys just complaining and stuff like that and arguing? Like, nobody cares. But it's whatever. I'm not somebody who stresses over things like that, so it is what it is, but I kind of wish that they showed a little bit more home footage. They didn't, my girlfriend's a big part of my my fighting and everything. She's the behind the scenes, and she wasn't even in it, and it's kind of annoyed about that. And they barely showed my family too. They only showed a short clip, but I mean, it is what it is.
I know what it was like for you to get the victory, but what we haven't seen really was the team reaction, because this is the team's first win, and I'm sure a monkey was lifted off of Stipe's back a little bit. We did see the team celebrate a little bit, but what was it like going back into the locker room?
Everybody was so pumped for me. They were all happy. It kind of brought a little bit of life back to the locker room. I definitely think it got everyone excited again about fighting. And I mean, they were already excited about fighting, but like, you know, losing. Nobody likes losing. So I mean, everybody was kind of just like annoyed and stressed out and frustrated. So it definitely gave everybody a little bit of a boost in the training the next day.
When Team Cormier was winning, we would see the reaction from Team Stipe, and a lot of Stipe and his coaches would always come over and congratulate the winner. What was it like the other way around? Did Cormier, did his coaching staff come over? Did they shake your guys' hands?
Oh, absolutely. Daniel Cormier is a really cool guy. Cain Velasquez is a really good guy. You know, Cormier actually came up to me after the fight, and he said, "Yo, Mike, you're a stud. Keep it up." Like, and that felt really good to me. You know, it just showed that, like, yeah, he's coaching the opposite team, and he's trying to get his guys to win. But, you know, at the end of the day, the tournament's really for all of us fighters to really grow and learn from everybody. And he was really cool and supportive of me, regardless of fighting his own team or not, you know. So I definitely made me feel good.
I'm a big fan of the baddest man on the planet. He was really, really vocal as well. I don't know how many weeks he spent with you guys, but I mean that's a world class wrestler. You know what I mean, Joe Warren?
Oh yeah, Joe Warren is an animal. I loved having him in the locker room. Like everyone's like, "Yo, Mike, let's go! Like this is your time," and he's like, "No, screw it, go out there and kill him, smash his face, bust him up with elbows, kill him." And I was like, it pumped me up. I mean, he's the man.
He is, man. I was just about to say that. Like that's like he's like he's got his style of motivating. You know what I mean? And it's like Roman gladiator days. You know what I mean? Like you feel like you're in the Coliseum when he's in your corner. That's how he's treating it, at least. And I think it can pull another gear out of someone. You know?
Yeah, you know what? He was good to have in my corner. You know, he kind of reminded me of some of my coaches. Like before I get into the cage, they like smack the hell out of me, and that's what he did. He's like, "Here, come here," and he just started smacking me, like getting ready. So it kind of pumped me up, and it made me feel a little bit like I was actually fighting back home. You know, so it was cool.
Yeah. Back home at the Waffle House, or are you talking about real fighting?
Real fighting.
Oh, okay,
real fighting.
I thought you meant like 2 a.m. I know how you guys get down in Jersey, so I thought I'd ask. You know, another thing I noticed was Warren also lifted. I thought the coaching staff also needed a lift. Mark Montoya had a nice speech to you guys, and this is nothing against Kraus, Camozzi, and Stipe, but it just seemed like they were kind of not matching the intensity of the other coaching staff. And I know that's a tough question to answer if you agree, Michael, but that's how I felt. What do you think?
No, I don't think it had anything to do with matching the team. They just had a different coaching perspective, and the way they were motivating us and pushing us, I thought it worked for me. You know, I was focused the whole time. We were losing and stuff, but it never deterred me from my goal and my focus on the fight. So, you know, they pushed me every day in practice. They were always making sure that I had everything I needed. I was healthy. You know, Stipe is always coming up to me during training and asking me if I needed anything. You know, am I good? How's it training? This and that. And he's like, "Yo, Mike, you're gonna kill it." Like, they were all super supportive, pumping me up. And I mean, the speech Montoya gave us was definitely got my adrenaline going for sure. So, I mean, they just had different an outlook on how to approach everything. But
that's true. That's true, and I know how editing can be as well. So that's good to hear. That's good to hear from behind the scenes. You know what? You know what it is, and I'll tie this into my last question, Mike. Mike Trizano, our guest here on MMA Junkie Radio. Catch him and the other contestants, the other undefeated contestants on The Ultimate Fighter. It's season 27, undefeated, Wednesdays at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific, on Fox Sports 1. Which, by the way, if you have DirecTV, like Goz and I, it's channel 219. So what I was going to say, Mike, last week we had Bryce Mitchell, and he was talking about he felt like these guys worked hard. They made the most out of 2 hours, 2 times a day, And he told us something that I found it hard to believe, and I couldn't tell if he was kidding or not. But remember, guys, he said that you guys were going go-karting and bowling, and I thought, is he trolling us or what? Was there some of that on your guys' team, Mike, or was my man bullshitting me?
Absolutely. No, absolutely. Stipe was trying to keep our minds focused, but at the same time, it's important to take our minds off of things so we don't get too worked up and kind of get stir crazy a little bit, because we're all stuck in a house. And any chance he got to kind of take us out of the house, he did. But we never did anything to interfere with training. Everything that we did with training was training. Like, we made the most of the 2 hours. We would train super hard, and I would work on recovery and stuff for like the last half hour or so, 15 minutes, whatever we had left in time. And then, but like in between training sessions or even after our second session of the day, Stipe was trying to take us out, and so we could have a good time and really just relax and de-stress a little bit. And I mean, I loved it. I think the other team was just a little jealous that they didn't get to go karting and bowling like we were doing.
All right, cool. Well, good to hear at least someone from Team Stipe Miocic in regards to those accusations. Hey, man, thank you very much for joining us here. I'm sure, like I said, your phone's blowing up. Great performance last night, and we look forward to talking to you throughout the season. So good luck, Mike. I know it's all in the past, but you know how this is, the timeline we're working off. Good luck, and hopefully we see you again.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, take care. All right, big shout-out to Chelsea and Aaron from the UFC for making that one happen. That's Michael Trizano, the Lone Wolf. Follow him on Twitter at The Lone Wolf MMA. Also, remember, it's Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific. It's The Ultimate Fighter, Season 27, undefeated. All of them are undefeated. And there's featherweights and lightweights. We have the coaches of Team Miocic and Team Cormier. Those two coaches will meet at the UFC 226 card that's coming up here on International Fight Week. So there's going to be a nice build-up. Those two coaches don't need to have heat. They don't need to push each other. I think there was a couple practical jokes that have been played. But that's going to be an outstanding fight, and I'm really, really looking forward to it.
I thought the blue tape was a perfect example of a good joke that didn't really take much thought.
Right.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, it's a nice jab.
They took all the signs that said undefeated and just put blue tape over it because it was in blue.
Right.
And it just said defeated.
Right. Yeah, I'm hearing you. All right, so we've heard back from Bellator, and we were rerouting Michael Venom Page. He'll be on in about 10 minutes. So that's good news. And our surprise guest, I think I'm moving him to tomorrow, if we can make it happen. I know we have an in-studio co-host already, so he may actually have to wait. I don't know. He's a busy guy as well. But you can call in, 866-522-2846. We have about 5 minutes, and then we're going to take – did we take the 5 or the 2.5?
2.5.
We took the 2.
All right, so we have to take the 5 at 35 because our Michael Venom Page will call in at 40. So in the meantime,
I know what I want to talk about.
What's that?
The Bellator salaries.
Okay.
Those are pretty high.
Pretty impressive, though, right? Like
pretty impressive, but also pretty high. I mean, Aaron Pico made $70,000.
Let me find him here. I want to go along.
Do you know how many guys in the UFC are reading that going, the fuck? Czech Congo, $150,000. Ryan Bader, $150,000. John Fitch, $120,000.
And that's one thing you hear in the UFC is where if you get a certain amount of money, you'll see guys even when they're maybe past their prime and past a certain matchup level, because they're making that money, they go, well, they're paying that much, of course. We're not just going to throw them in there against anybody. And they're in there with guys kind of way out of their league, whereas, yeah, I'm not picking on – I'm really excited for Pico's growth. I love watching the guys fight. Not picking on him at all, but since you mentioned it, seeing a guy like that get 70, I'm sure, yeah, probably does rub some of the fighters, the wrong way for who they're having to face to get what they've had to get.
Both Bader and Lawal didn't have to worry about a win bonus. All right, they just went out there and fought, and they both got $150K. John Fitch got 120, 60, and 60. Now he had won 4 in a row. This makes 5 in a row. He did capture the WSOF title, and I think defended the PFL, when they transitioned. But what's the accusation been for John Fitch? He's kind of boring. He's methodical. He's a grinder. So is he the type of guy to put asses in seats? I mean, he is John Fitch. You have to give him that respect. He's got a ton of wins. But, again, is he a human highlight reel? No. And so for Bellator to go, tell you what, we're going to give you 60 and 60. I mean, wow, either he negotiated well or this is just how Bellator gets down.
You could also say the same thing about Congo, right? He was getting criticized for his style as
150
well.
No win bonus. Yeah, Javier Ayala
no wonder
makes 30
people are willing to wait out for. Now I get why he said, "Yeah, I'll chill."
I'll tell you who's tripping right now. Paul Daly.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he couldn't stop John Fitch, but do you remember when Paul Daly landed that knee on our guy Lorenz Larkin? It got talked about. It was up there on the big screen. We talked about it. It may have been KO of the month back then or whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, a good striker it can have a long ripple effect after the date of the fight. But not too many people are talking about John Fitch's fight. We came in here and we were goofing off and farting and joking and doing whatever. But it took us a while to get through all of 224 because we were talking about controversy, the stuff with the coach out in Brazil, blah, blah, blah. And then I think we said Bader beat Mo, sucks for Mo, and Bader moves on. And we barely had time for that, but we sure as hell didn't compartmentalize any time for the co-main event. We were like, if we get to it, we get to it because Fitch just beat him, and that was it. I mean, there's not much to relay to anyone that didn't watch it. So circling back, when Daly wins, though, it gets talked about. You see what I'm saying? And he just ran into a guy that he couldn't stop. But 30,000? I wonder if he's looking at it and going, if you guys really want me, you guys got to come a lot stronger than that. And he might have a case. Because even John and Morrow were both saying they were referencing the Diaz fight from years ago at Strikeforce. Another fight that he dropped. But still, he put on a show. And that's Coker's thing. You fight your ass off for me, put on a show, we'll take care of the rest. I think that might be where Daly's frustrations also lie.
Well, but to your point, that Scott Smith KO, how much mileage have they gotten out of that? Daly's left hook of Scott Smith. Remember in Strikeforce, Daly wasn't a long-time Strikeforce guy, but that immediately became a part of their reel, right? Remember that? That's still the Diaz fight, like you were saying. So to your point, I mean, the mileage you're getting out of those guys, more, I should say, to Daly's point, because he was the one saying this beforehand. Yeah, I mean,
Daly might be going, what? Did he go in? Like, serious? Like, and I'm not hating on anyone that can negotiate that money. Frank Trigg once said it, and he was right. You are worth what you negotiate. Piccolotti, 36. He got 18 and 18. Carrington Banks took home 14. Duran Wynn, who, by the way, is that coach that was beefing with the Armenian kid.
Yeah.
He won 24-100, 12 and 12. This is where I think Bellator will get slammed a little bit because these have to get published. And just, Joe Lunchpail, casual fan, big UFC guy, picking his nose, looking at stuff. He's going to be like, look at Bellator. They don't pay shit. But these are really regional guys that Bellator's kind of has another blueprint where they'll just get local regional guys to sell tickets or whatever, but they're part of the promotion. They're under the umbrella, but I don't know that they're like exclusive. I think next week they could be fighting at Gladiator or Conquer fighting.
We've seen
or
a few
like
of them
that.
go like Bama, right? We've called Bama fights where they fight there, and then the next week they're fighting Bellator, and then they're back to Bama.
I'll tell you this: with both these big companies increasing their shows, they're drawing some regional talent. Where your boy over here, I don't want to say your boy because we got
Anders.
I want to say your boy over here. That's why I have to be careful how I say it. I end up having to track a lot of these regional guys, and what you guys are saying is actually is spot on. A and B not uncommon.
What about C?
C? I don't go that far with these guys. I go as far as I need to.
All right. Quick shout out to Gaston Bolanos. He got himself a win. Fellow Peruvian. Way to go. We got to take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back with Michael Venom Page from Bellator. He'll be fighting at Bellator 200 versus the caveman, Dave Rickels.
King Kong has a lot of shit on them. Like a lot, especially Goes. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
All right, folks, on May 25th, Bellator 200 headed your way on Paramount, 9 p.m. Eastern. There will be a same-day delay there because they'll be out in the UK. That's right, Bellator 200 is out in London, headlined by Mirko Cro Cop versus Roy Nelson. But on that same card is one of my favorite fighters, the undefeated Michael Page, who will be facing the caveman, David Rickels. Michael Venom Page joins us now on the hotline. What's up, MVP? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Just ready to rock and roll.
Man, it is going to be it's a huge event that we need to talk about. You ready to talk about it?
Oh, yeah. Let's go.
The FA Cup on Saturday. I know you'll be watching that, right?
Of course.
All right. You going to be there?
Over the next couple of weeks, yeah, definitely. Unfortunately, no, man. I'm focused on what I got to do.
Oh, okay. All right. I just thought maybe, it's a Saturday. Maybe that's your light day or whatever. And you'd go over there and cheer on them.
There's no light days in London streets, man.
Okay. All right. But you will be watching. That's the important thing. We're going to teach Chelsea a big lesson there. They were popping off earlier in the year, and now
100%.
Now we're going to lift the trophy. So I know you'll be watching.
100%.
That's right. What's your prediction, by the way? 2-0, 3-0? Where do you sit?
I see it as 3-1.
3-1. All right. He's giving him a goal. All right. Michael Venom Page, the reason you won't be able to attend is because you're laser focused for David Rickels on May 25th, which is the following weekend. I see that you took your part of your camp to SBG Ireland.
No, we just went over there for one day. Literally, it was all business. We went over there, did some sparring, and then flew back. It was in and out job.
Okay.
Right. Yeah, so we've been doing a lot of different, just meeting with different gyms, just to organize spars with different people, just try and test and see where I'm at.
With all that travel, though, and I know it's just it's not that long of a flight, but it is a flight and getting everything together. Why not stay for a couple days? Why just one day? You can really get enough of a look off of one day.
Yeah, 100%. I'm that kind of person, man. Like, I'm analyzing just every second. So every second I'm in there, I took back a lot and just straight back into the gym, get to working on what I need to work on.
A technical fighter like yourself that reads the footwork, reads the timing, reads the body movement, the feints of the opponent. Can you almost be too technical for someone like David Rickels? And I'm not saying he's not technical. It's just that he can fly off the handle and become violent in a non-technical, non-traditional way. Is that more of a concern sometimes than when you're facing another elite technical striker?
Yeah, sometimes. I think everyone's different. I always like to see it as, I don't know if you guys train yourselves. If you work with, sometimes you can work with guys that are a bit more beginnerish, and they can land more shots.
Right.
And only because they're throwing so recklessly that you're not used to blocking from those kind of angles. So sometimes having a style that is quite wild can actually be beneficial. It's actually almost technical in its own way, and it's harder to read. But this is where what I'm good at. I'm good at figuring things out. Even if I didn't have any footage of him to see, I'm good at figuring things out. During the fight and working on what the timing and distance and keeping myself safe, and then figuring out exactly when to land the shots that I need to land.
Michael Page, our guest here on MMAjunkie Radio, undefeated welterweight, fighting for Bellator on the Bellator 200 card out in London. Again, his opponent David Rickels. It's May 25th from the SEC Arena, and you can watch the fights on Paramount. Now, if you have DirecTV like Goes and I, it is channel 241. All right, I'm going to put you to my co-host, fellow Man United fan, Goes. What do you have for MVP?
MVP, you're a great fighter, but you're also a great entertainer and a great showman. That being said, what do you think of Caveman Rickels and his entrances and his ability to kind of the showman side of himself?
Yeah, I love it, man. I appreciate that thing. I think it's it's a tough game, man. It's an extremely tough game. One of the hardest sports in the world to do. And I think you need that kind of just humor to it, and being able to relax and be comfortable and almost be silly at certain times, just to kind of relax you. And I think it adds that bit of entertainment. And you know, he's one of those type of fighters. I enjoy you know, his entrances as much as anybody else would. So it's good. It's nice to see. It makes it different.
Michael, I know you've dipped your toes in boxing before. Can you talk a little bit about the transition when you're in a training camp for boxing versus MMA? Like, how long does it take you to kind of get right back into MMA form? And does one kind of help the other?
Yeah, definitely. I think the boxing definitely helps you in MMA. I'm not sure it'd work the other way around. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff you just wouldn't need to do the other way around. But definitely, we start on our feet. And, you know, a lot of people, 9 times out of 10, start the fight with a punch. Even wrestlers, a lot of the times they usually throw a punch just to get themselves close enough to land their takedown. So it's good to know how to do it. And boxing is the first place anybody can go to learn how to punch properly. So it's definitely helped me, one, in just adjusting some of my footwork to get a little bit more power. It's helped me with combinations. And it's also helped me with just general upper body strength. So even when I'm wrestling now, weirdly enough, just the added workouts I've done on my shoulders and my arms is actually helping me in my wrestling.
Our fight analyst has a couple for you. What do you have, Dan Tom, for Michael Venom Page?
Hey, Michael. Obviously, I love the approach of, you know, diving headfirst into an art to really immerse yourself and, you know, build your skills as you're doing, whether you're doing it with MMA, whether you're doing it with boxing. But, of course, every fighter has his own style at the end of the day, and obviously you have your own unique style. So let me ask you this. As far as maybe not watching opponents, but do you watch other karate stylists out there? You know, you have Lyoto from the more Shotokan style, obviously Wonder Boy with the more Kempo, or you have guys like Scoggins who have the Kempo style, but they'll mix in a lot of wrestling. Do you watch any of the other karate guys and take anything, or what are your thoughts there? Not as much anymore. A lot of that, because my style, although it's called, it'd be classed as like freestyle karate, it's not actually a karate-based style. It's again, it's what we call it freestyle. It's almost like a mishmash of taekwondo, kung fu, karate. It's kind of everything. Also known as freestyle kickboxing. So a lot of times I'll still keep an eye on, you know, the guys that are in my sport, but not so much the guys that kind of left their karate style and gone into obviously, you know, you see the knockouts, like the Machida knockout the other day. It's an amazing knockout, so it's not something you're gonna miss. You're gonna watch it. So yeah, it's only at that point where I actually, you know, watch and analyze something else if something caught my eye. But in general, no, not so much anymore. I just kind of focus on my own style and just developing that. Awesome. And obviously you already touched in the beginning of the interview, traveling with some great gyms, training with great people, you know, seeing your Instagram here with Kamaru Amasu, the Cage Warriors champion. But as far as the ground game goes, is there anybody that's inspiring you as far as coaches, fighters, as far as your training's going in the ground department, Michael?
It's definitely my coaches, man. They're beasts on the floor. They're beasts all around, to be fair, but Alexis and Paul in the London Shoot Fighters, it's definitely them that's inspiring and helping. He's so, I call him the scientist, because they're so detailed. One foot, one hand, couple of inches lower, higher. They're very on it. A lot of people can just kind of overlook it. Oh yeah, well it worked anyway. You know, you got the result. I can get, you know, 10 takedowns out of 10, and they still got a million things to say that I could have done that would have made that takedown or those takedowns much better. And I love that about them. They're always looking at what I can improve on, and they're always forcing me to improve myself. So it's definitely them.
All right. Well, Michael, thank you very much for the time. We appreciate it as always. And again, we'll be watching the not the royal wedding, but the royal beatdown that we're going to give Chelsea at the FA Cup final on Saturday. So hopefully we see some tweets from you as well.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm gonna put on the show, so just don't blink.
All right, take care, mate. Good talking to you.
No problem, man. Take care. See ya.
Yeah. That's Michael Venom Page, all the way out in London. Big shout out to Dan, CJ, and the gang over at Bellator for making that one happen. Goes, what do you think's getting talked about more, the royal wedding or the FA Cup final? They're on the same day.
The royal wedding. People haven't shut up about that. People in America are fired up about that.
What's the royal wedding?
The Prince Harry's getting married on Saturday.
Okay, I thought that was code for like some kind of soccer game. I was like, is like the code like the red wedding?
Well, that's
like,
the
gonna
royal
be a massacre?
beatdown. That's what we're giving Chelsea in the FA Cup final. They're both taking place. Are they both in London? Yeah, right. They're both in London. And then Page gets down the following weekend.
Okay.
So we still have another week before Bellator 200.
I heard the hotel rooms are just astronomical
in
London right now. Yeah. There are none. It's like Tuscany, renting a house in Tuscany.
If a rich Londoner says, I like to fuck with people, and he goes, I'll give you a ticket to the FA Cup final, pay for everything, and 10 grand in your pocket to have a good time, or I can get you into the wedding within the first few pews, and I'll stuff 100 grand in your pocket, but you can't watch the FA Cup at all.
Give me 100 grand.
Really?
Fuck yeah.
Wow. So it's all about the money, huh?
It's all about the money.
Or are you into this whole wedding thing?
And it's going to be funny because people are just going to watch it and go, what is he doing there? And I will purposely not answer my phone
I forgot to tell you,
so
you have to wear no shirt, a bow tie, and black tight leather pants.
Even better.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I won't answer my phone for a month. So people just kind of go,
we can give you a mohawk and a nose ring.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
A mohawk?
You're a bad guy from an 80s movie at that point.
You're not going to actually like drill into my nose, right? It's just like the fake one?
The fake one, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll still do it.
All right. I think I would too. How about you, Dan?
I'd do it. Sign me up for it.
I really wouldn't. I would go to the FA Cup.
I would act as
100 grand's a lot, and I could use it, but
you can always do an FA Cup final.
I know, man, but that guy's paying for everything, and I get 10 grand. Oh my God!
But take the 100 grand and
for some of those things are like 100 grand. With the bowl, and that was like the Real Madrid. So the closest I got my stuff in London, pretty much. I had my passport. Going, that's right, because apparently bus was like way cheaper. So I'm like, I'm gonna be responsible. I go up to the kiosk, set my wallet on the kiosk. There's a guy behind the the glass thing right there, right? Go to reach in my bag, turn, wallet's gone. Dude's right there in front of me. There's a metal thing. I'm like, of course I'm like, did you just see? And the guy's like, I didn't see anything. I'm looking around for someone walking away. It's just in that little time where I turned from my bag, somebody walked, grabbed it, just that
guy wasn't willing to cooperate?
That guy didn't see anything. I'm like, come on, man.
Do you think he took it or someone took it?
At first, I was like, there's no way somebody walked by just that fast. And I'm like, but I'm like, if they did, I'm like, they're long gone now. You were looking right at me, waiting for me to grab my other belongings from my bag. I forget what I was grabbing at that time, but he said he didn't see anything. The guy didn't speak that good of English himself behind the kiosk, and yeah, so I was on.
I think I would have escalated that. Like, let me talk to your manager. You stole it.
I had to put
that way they run back the camera, and then they got to prove it to me that the world's slickest.
Been like Neil
did
Page?
That guy just talk?
Stole it.
Did that guy just top our Uncle Carlos getting his glasses lifted? I mean, that's pretty damn close, right?
Check this out. I fill out a report and go just real quick. Fill out a report, go through the trip.
They got cameras everywhere.
It affects the trip. It sucked. I had to wait till I got to Spain to get the rest of my money. Yada yada. Trip's over about a month after I get off the trip. They go, oh, by the way, we finally found your wallet. I'm like, okay, finally. Yeah, a month after my trip, sure. Send it over. That might save me some DMV, some IDs that might still be worth, even though the money's probably gone. They said we're gonna need $30 or something like $50 American to send it. I'm like, fuck it, whatever. Just here. I pay them the money. They never send us. They got me twice. They got me twice. They got me twice. Waterloo Station twice.
Wow, you got.
I got punked.
Wait, was it someone official or was it someone pretending to be?
Dude, it looked official. The paperwork and everything. I was just like, what the fuck?
You're just lucky it wasn't more.
Yeah,
that was young Dan Tom right there. Naive Dan Tom.
This is probably Dan Tom right now, sadly.
Wow.
But all
right. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. Hopefully a couple of UFC middleweights are rolling in. second hour of the MMA Junkie Radio Show. I thought maybe Rich Franklin was going to walk out. That's his song, right?
Yeah. Remember he tried to change it one time?
Did he?
Everybody freaked out. Vanderlei tried one time too, I think, to change it.
Yeah. That's his song. He just can't be doing that.
That's just it.
Especially when you've done it too many times and you have the kind of fame they do.
Marcus Davis, he didn't like House of Pain, but Dana made him come out to it.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
He
that.
called him one time when he was at, I think Dana was at the Palms with the guys from House of Pain. And he goes, hey, guess what, Marcus? You're walking out to this. And he was like, all right.
That's not a bad way to be told what you're walking out to.
Yeah.
Sean Cowley, who trains at SBG Ireland with Conor McGregor, has signed with Brave Combat Federation. But the big news for that dude is he was one of the guys that he's one of the guys that has to face the music, I guess. Him and Conor McGregor have a hearing. They were the only two that were actually arrested. So we saw a bunch of Irishmen running around with Conor McGregor. Well, the only ones really in trouble are these two guys. This guy, Cowley's 0-1. He's meeting a 1-1 fighter, so his career is just starting off. But as far as hooliganism, he's right up there, right? I mean, I guess he did enough to get he did enough to get arrested. They are set to appear in court June 14th in New York. You know, he's a taller guy with a beard. If you watched any of the videos that came out of that, I guess I didn't see much other than Conor, and the rest were just like, get him, yeah, you know. But I think I did see him pick something up, or who knows.
I'm just picturing the whole cast of Peaky Blinders mugshots right now, so I almost don't want to hear the description because I like that image better.
I've heard it's good. I've never seen it yet, though.
Peaky Blinders?
Yeah.
I got through about 4 episodes, and it's not bad. And we just fell off, but not because we disliked it.
Right.
It's just like, oh, we'll catch up. Now it's on season 2, 3, 4, I don't know. But we were willing to still continue.
It's good. I'll just leave it at that. It's one of the few things that Dan Tom actually seen, but I think I'm up to date with it. It's really good.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, if you guys have time.
On the topic of hooliganism, and I don't even know that this counts. It's
okay.
Anyway, I know there's been kind of like a pseudo documentary on Lee Murray and the heist. But can they do a 30 for 30?
Well, I think ESPN did something. I think they already did.
But it wasn't a 30 for 30, right?
Well, E60, one of those.
Something
it was
like
good enough that
yeah.
ESPN did it.
I was thinking about that the other day.
So, I mean, is there someone with more insight and there's more footage that can do it better?
Be, right?
Maybe, but I thought that one was pretty good.
I'm on a documentary kick.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever see that movie that was actually called Heist? I think it was in the late 90s. I want to say it.
Oh, is that with Eddie Murphy? And
No, it wasn't. I don't think it was a comedy, but it has one of the most funny scenes that I know Goes would laugh at because they're doing like an actual like heist, like I think Gene Hackman's in it, and like there's some older dudes, and one of the guys like an older guy. He's a beard character actor. You'd recognize him, real older, like in his late 50s, beard, heavy set guy. And something's going wrong, and they need to rent interference, and they're on the ear system. They go quick interference, and the guy just steps in front of a car and gets hit by a car. And the funniest thing is, all right, and he just doesn't think twice about it. He comes out of nowhere, like, well, couldn't he have
killed or just
no, he just gets hurt in the leg and like pretty bad though, and like the
like Adam Sandler and Big
yeah,
Daddy?
yeah, and they have to stop and it serves the purpose of their thing. But I'm just like, couldn't we have written something a little more? Like that was this guy's plan A or his plan A of the plan B? Sorry, sidetrack, but I know it was a scene that Goes with just crack at, so I had to take a shot.
Yeah, I love. George said it the other day. Like, well, I mean, it sounds terrible, but I love when people
get hurt.
Yeah,
you guys were both talking about that. You guys are both.
I could go to a comedy show, and it's nothing against the comedian. I know he's funny or she's funny because people are laughing, but there's times where I just don't laugh. But if you just see like a little kid walk into a glass window or something, God, that makes me laugh. Or somebody trip and fall.
Okay, so tell me where you guys stand on this.
Shots.
The worst one I saw is we used to hand out pulls as I was a Bellagio lifeguard, and between our stand duties, we had to be like pool boys and hand out towels between our guard shifts, right? And this old lady comes in. She looks like she went to the tanning salon. You know those ladies that are in their 40s. She looks 60. You know, because of the dark skin. That was this lady, but she was 70, looking 90, right? And she takes a spill down the stairs, and she's actually like bleeding at her cut, because it looks so weird, the cut on like that kind of skin. And I'm like, oh gosh, so we're trying to like dress her wound and help her up. And my buddy is laughing. He can't stop laughing, like he's just because.
Oh yeah, that I probably.
I was like, okay. Well, I was gonna say, are you guys that bad? Where you're just like, dude,
there's an age limit on it.
There's
an age limit on it, but yeah, somebody crashing into something, somebody tripping, somebody missing a chair.
And if you find out they're okay, then.
Okay.
But yeah,
that's my problem. I can't stick around to find out because I'm already laughing.
I am too. I am. I mean, I have sometimes an initial reaction. I have an ability to assess right away. Oh, that's going to be bad. wipe the smile off her face,
Yeah,
or just
sure.
fucking, I'm looking for someone to fist bump.
Okay.
or
Like the
high five.
dodgeball game with Syndicate. Oh, I was dying, dude, when people were getting leveled left and right because they pulled out that big, what is it, the exercise ball or whatever at one point, and people were just getting hit with that.
Was it
Their bodies
JD
were
from
flying.
the IE that had the best head movement in the world?
Kind of. I was standing right next to him, and he just kind of went like this.
There's
and
a video, right?
Yeah, it's on video, and it went right by his face. But I told him, I go, dude, if that would have hit you in the head, you would have looked like a Pez dispenser. Like your head just would have popped off, I think.
So a guy getting hit the balls with a football like on loop is like easy.
Oh, Tracy Lee got hit with a dodgeball, and all she was doing was taking pictures. That was kind of funny.
Oh, she did?
Innocent bystander.
Yeah, it
that's
wasn't
points.
too bad. Like it just kind of like
She
went,
wasn't in the middle,
like that,
right?
But huh?
She wasn't in the middle of it all, was it? Was she?
Kind of. She was off to the side, but it was just a bad ball that ricocheted off something. I laugh at stupid shit.
Speaking of, you guys want to hear a story?
Yeah.
So you all saw on MMA Junkie that there was a story.
You know
Here?
the story.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, the guys. I wanted to do with the guys. There was a story on MMA Junkie. Manager Brian Butler was one of the people that was assaulted at that kiosk.
Yeah.
So in Brazil, a lot of the hotels are along Copacabana, Ipanema, Leblon, Barra de Tijuca. I mean, I'm talking about miles upon miles and miles of strip. It's almost like Pacific Coast Highway for all you West Coasters.
Okay.
All right. And so when you exit your hotel, like they're not really on the sand per se. I mean, there might be some, but for the most part, there's this big Avenida Atlantica, and everybody walks and rollerblades, and they're into fitness and jogs, and so they have a huge bike lane and walk lane, and then they have two-way on each, for the cars. So that's what they did, was they just went across the street to one of those kiosks, and those kiosks serve the beaches. And so they were there, and they got guns pulled on them. And so I think you guys saw the story, right? Brian was one of them. And Brian goes, man, I think I'm done with Rio. And I go, why is that? He goes, that's not even the closest I've come to dying there. And I go, really? He goes, yeah. He said, let me see, I think I can just read it word for word.
Same
it's
trip?
not with a lot of detail, but he said, the first time I went, I almost got killed by a car that went out of control and smashed into a light pole I was standing beside. He said, I was literally at the point of impact in the car. It grazed my legs 1 inch further, and I would have been 300 feet down the road.
Wow.
And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I feel like if I go the third time, I'm asking for it. So he says, I think I'm done.
Man.
So I don't know if his first time was when him and Max, or when Max won the world title and he was with him, or if there was another time or what. But you said that about the car thing, and I heard that story, and I was like, I asked him, like, oh, can I share this? He goes, yeah.
Wow.
Damn.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah.
He just sent me another picture, but let me see if this is okay. He says, I got some Final Destination shit happening. I was on one of the buses when we thought it was a terror attack, but it was just Connor and his gang. Oh, okay. No. But he says one day before, in the UK, before the terror attack, he was there as well.
Wow.
So I guess he's had some close calls.
Have you? I haven't really.
Dying?
Yeah.
Well, we had guns drawn us in Brazil, but it was just the cops. They're very, like, aggressive. Like, get out of the car. They're not, how here they have the kind of their hand on the holster and like, hey, let me see your ID and all that.
That happened to me at the airport.
Over there, it's just like, hey, get out the car, and they wanted to just take some money from us, but Antonio kind of handled it. But we literally had like 10 people in a car, so we were stuffed in there.
Jesus.
We were laughing our asses
Krusty the
off.
Clown?
We were drunk. We were just, and he had to handle it. And I don't remember if we all
10 people
dug $20 out or what, but we weren't taking it too serious. Guns drawn at me in Lima, Peru. Our cousin Robert was driving, and the cop told him, turn around and go the other way. And he goes, why? I want to go this way. And he pulls his gun out, and he goes, I said turn around. And my cousin keeps going, you turn around. He goes, we want to go through. And I'm like leaning to the side going Robert, he's got a gun. He goes, he ain't going to do shit with that gun. He turned around like, I was like, oh, my God. I go, Robert, I go, do it for me, man. I go, I don't like this. What if this guy's pretending to be a fucking cop, I go, going that way is not the end of it. It was like 2 a.m. I mean, there wasn't traffic or anything.
What is the inconvenience?
And
like,
so
what's the detour there?
He did it. I don't know. So maybe that guy's acting as a cop, and they're robbing the place. All I know is I don't care if it's a toy gun, a water gun. I would just hate to be floating up to heaven, my soul, and when they open the gates and St. Peter says, "What happened to you?" I just go, "Oh, I was with my dumbass cousin. We thought the guy was bluffing."
So what happened?
So he turned around.
I bet he was mad about it too. Huh?
He was really, really mad. Yeah, but the high-speed car chase. I mean, crazy stuff in South America, man. The high-speed car chase.
I always picture these like
That was
military
no fun.
cops chasing George in all these stories, like like those guys that have the military caps, and then they pull you up, they come to the window,
Our
they're
dad was one of
smoking,
those.
like, quítate, like just like we're like, oh.
I saw a movie called Quédate.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes long on HBO Latino. I was like, what is this? But what got my attention was the description said a coyote smuggles illegal aliens. Like, oh, okay, let's see what this is about. And I put it on, and let me tell you guys, I've requested Damon Martin to watch this because he's an expert at television and movies and plots. And this is above my pay.
Okay.
And I watched it, and I speak Spanish too. It had subtitles. It's called Quédate on HBO Latino. I think it'll be on one more time this month. And so what this guy does, if you really want to watch it, then stop listening now because I'm going to talk about it. But what this guy does, you want me to...
Guy on the bike.
You guys want to watch it on your own or figure it out? Or?
No,
I mean, if it's good, if you say it's good, then
it's
why
good.
not?
So the guy basically, the people are smuggling over. I won't give it away. But people are smuggling over, and he takes a liking to somebody. And all this just happens in 30 minutes. And that's what sucks is I feel like they took it away from me. It just all of a sudden these credits started rolling up because the end happens. And you're just like, what? Like, this can't be. Like, you could make a part 2, 3, 4. I don't know. But it was excellent filmmaking because they got it all done in 30 minutes. And
so like real time, like to like how it's happening. But they went hipster on you and they pulled the rug out.
Did I ever
pretty much
tell you guys about when I was a coyote?
What?
You
was it a dream?
Yeah.
You smuggled someone in from Mexico?
No, I used to make what's up? I used to make fake business cards and give them to girls and make them funny, and it was like my line opener, and this was one of them.
Coyote for you, Damien El Raton Garcia. Ooh, I like it.
I'm professional smuggler / DirecTV installer, and so they would see that and go, ha ha ha, and then like, hey, what's your name? And that's how I'd break the ice.
Nice. You never told me that one.
Did I ever tell you I was a?
For listeners, we have Julian Marquez, Eryk Anders coming in.
Yeah.
What's up, man? How you doing?
What's up, Julian? All right. So let's bring in the guys. Goes, you and Dan rotate over here or something, and we'll bring in the guys over here. I told Goes to use Head and Shoulders, so you won't have any dandruff like last time.
Oh,
yeah.
Man. Oh, wait, you want it on my head?
All right, and I want to welcome to the show the Cuban Missile Crisis, Julian Marquez, and Eryk Anders, your boy, in the house. What's going on, fellas?
Oh, not a lot. Yeah, man, just got off the plane. My man Julian scooped your boy up.
Where you coming from?
Birmingham.
Birmingham?
Alabama.
Okay, in Alabama. How do you two know each other?
Trained? Yeah, around the way. I think the last time I came out here, I went to where he was training at. Came cool.
Clicked?
Yeah.
Yeah, everything clicked out. We hung out, ate breakfast at the PI. I had a ridiculous breakfast. Remember that? I had like 13 egg whites. And we were just looking at it.
Can you literally walk up there and go, give me 4 eggs, French toast, hash browns? I mean, like literally start giving them an order and they'll do it all?
Oh, you have no idea. So they're amazing. So I have a unique nutrition that I have to follow from Tyler Minton. And like I print out the entire day of what I need and I give it to them. And Crystal, she's back there and she weighs everything out and puts it all pretty much like.
Really?
Yeah,
I
section all that.
So if you ever miss weight,
I won't.
We're gonna clown you. I mean, because an expert gave you everything, and a professional chef prepared it for you.
Oh, they're amazing.
You had nothing to do other than mow it down and take a shit and clear the room for the next day for you to do it again.
Exactly. Dude,
wow.
You have everything there that they help you out with.
That's legit. That's
amazing.
legit. And rather than you do it, you're having them do it.
Oh yeah. Plus, all my meals are like I pretty much eat my meals are split up 8 times, but it's like. It's literally
you have 8
3
meals?
normal meals.
Oh, is one of them
they're
just
all
like
split up.
Grab something
like 3 ounces of chicken,
some mix or something.
a half a cup of grapes, 1.5 ounces of avocado. It's very meticulous.
Wait, so it's 11:15 right now. How many meals have you had?
I've had 2. My third one's at 12:05.
What are they? Do you mind?
I mean, I could pull the whole thing up, but right now,
you have it on you. I mean, 12:05 is when the show ends.
I have it. Yeah, no, it's all right. I'll
is it
be
in
a
your
little
pocket?
bit late. No.
Oh,
I have my meal plan right here though. I carry it with me all the time.
That would have been cool though, huh? If he pulled out like a chicken
Dude,
leg or
just
something.
like, check it out. No, yeah, it's just all meticulously put together. Every day I come in and I'll just go give it to Crystal, and we'll talk and be like, all right, I already ate this. I can do this stuff. Like, would you mind helping me out here? And they're amazing. They help me out every day in the cafeteria.
Do you think you're the only guy that takes it to that level, or are there other athletes
I don't
starting
know.
to capitalize?
I don't know. I focus on myself.
I eyeball it, man. I don't know.
Wow. That's
So
the meal plan?
That's the meal plan for the day. Just a bunch of stuff, you know, and then when training
Wait,
goes.
what's bangbrothers.com?
Oh, that's pretty close.
Oh, there's your meal plan. Okay. All right. Low-fat Greek yogurt is what you're having.
It sucks.
Next with grapes and all. That's not a meal. That's a snack.
That's a snack, but it keeps you. It
8
keeps your
meals
metabolism high.
to everyone sitting at home. We're thinking, fuck, man, like potatoes and
When I used to
meat
get
and
bad
corn
grades,
and-
they would make me eat that as a punishment.
Really? Oh man, I love it. Oh,
Oh,
now
are
I
you one of those
love
guys
it.
that's also going to say this is delicious?
Yeah,
Dolce does that.
the
Mike
problem-
Dolce comes in here and goes, oh, yeah, and I do this and I do that. And some of it I've tasted is pretty good. I got to give it up. But there's other stuff. I'm sitting there going, God, that sounds awful, Dolce. Stop. Just tell us it's healthy. We get it, but don't pass it as being delicious,
Oh
too.
man, whenever you eat it multiple times, when you start doing the weight cut and you like go away from like the actual delicious things in life, you start finding flavor in things that you normally won't. Like Greek yogurt, I hate it. Now I love it.
I like it.
I love
You
it.
do?
And then you add
Yeah.
some fruits
I
in
know
it.
that.
He's right. The first time I was like, I'm not too wild about this. I'd rather have an ice cream. But,
Well,
yeah, I had some blueberries from
You ever had
Chile or
kefir?
something. Or
Have you ever had
Argentina.
kefir?
No.
Yeah, try some kefir. First time you try it, plain kefir. Don't do the strawberry, the blueberry. Just plain kefir. Just take a swig of that. Put some hair on your chest. Yeah, it's
All
pretty
right.
rough.
What brings you to town, Eryk Anders?
Just to get some training in.
How long are you in town for?
I'll be here till the 28th.
28th of May. Okay.
Yeah, so.
But you have no fight set, right? I saw you hollering for a fight. You're ready.
I'm ready. Yep.
And Julian Marquez does have the tough finale.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you're mid-camp right now. In fact, you're closing it. Well, no, you got 2 months.
We have 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
Yeah,
Okay.
he came out to help me out, beat me up a little bit,
Very
get
cool.
me ready.
Your name came up the other day. You ain't going to like
In a
it,
good
but
way.
I got to shoot you straight. I'm a straight shooter,
Holla.
right? When Lyoto won, I told Goes, I go, because you've been on our show many times.
Sure.
We've had you on, and man, I think because of the college football talk, I just clicked with you a little bit.
Right.
So when you lost to Lyoto, I was like, damn, like much respect to Lyoto, former champ and everything, but he's 38. I just figured his better days are behind him.
Sure.
And I thought that was a huge move for you. What I liked was that you called out for the big fights, you got the big fight, and then you came up short, in that fight. And I told Goes, I go, man, that could have been Eryk Anders possibly. Now, I'm not saying an up kick. What I'm saying is, had you been able to pull out the Lyoto fight, who knows if maybe you get yourself something like the Bellator fight. But the
Right.
positioning, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where now we're going, okay, we got Whitaker and Romero, and Gastelum looks like he's in. Weidman's hollering that he might be in. And that's around the time we'd be going, don't forget about Anders. You see what I'm saying? So
That's all good,
that-
man.
I didn't mean it
Setback for a major
detrimentally. I
comeback.
just meant like, that's how much these wins and losses mean. That
Sure. Man, it's all good though. It's I definitely could have done more in the fight. I think patience is really a virtue of mine when it comes to fighting. Definitely an advantage of mine, but I think I was a little bit too patient. And when I did rock Machida, I smothered myself and started trying to wrestle instead of stepping back, hitting him with more shots. And
were you trying to manage your energy output across 25 minutes? Was that something that was also on your mind? Because you're right, there was so many times where I felt like I've seen more out of you in previous fights. Offensive output.
I think I just gave him a little too much respect.
Okay,
because I know he likes to counterpunch and whatnot, so I was just waiting for him to make a move and a little bit too patient. And I wasn't really scoring it in my head the way the judges were. I don't think you can win a fight by kicking somebody with your big toe. So I was like, okay, so then that's not like a significant strike or whatever, but it is what it is. Learning experience.
Yeah, you seem to be taking it in stride. And
yeah, well, I mean, it's over with. It's
right.
Done. Yeah.
Well, you've had so much success through football at the University of Alabama, and then to come in and start off undefeated. That's what I'm saying. I was wondering if you maybe got spoiled from winning, and the loss you might be taking it difficult. But it seems like, I mean, we are months removed from it as well.
You know, it's a sport. It's a game at the end of the day. So, you know, I don't have a chip on my shoulder or nothing about it. You know.
How many football games did you lose while you played out there?
Let's see. I think we went 10-3 the first season, 7-6.
7-6.
Yeah.
Alabama in the last 10 years has been 7-6.
This was before Saban. When Saban came, we only lost like 2 games.
What years were you there?
05. I redshirted in 05, and 09 was my last year.
Okay. So 7-6, 10-3. What else?
Then Saban came. I think we went 6-6 the first season, then 10-2, then undefeated. So we didn't lose much at all.
And the undefeated is when you forced the fumble when you guys won the title?
Yep.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah.
Eryk, when you land in Las Vegas, it's fight capital of the world. Is there something that you feel like? Is it that same way when a hiker goes to Machu Picchu or something? Is there something you feel in your soul?
Man, I just know I'm gonna get some good training, man. I feel like this is the mecca for combat sports, boxing, MMA. These are where all the big gyms are at. So, you know, I just feel I know I'm gonna get some good training with high level guys, and you know I'm gonna come out better when I leave.
Yeah.
All right, you're here for. Are you like hired by him? Like. Is that how it works? He's giving you those types of looks, or you're just both trying to make each other better?
We're making each other better.
Like I didn't know if he was mimicking your opponents or anything.
No, like I don't train for my opponent, to be honest. I train to better myself because, as you see, like I trained for my opponent. My last one with Darren Stewart was the first time, but before I was supposed to fight Vitor Miranda, so I trained for him. And when I got a quick switch, I was like, okay, everything's out the window. Time to brawl it out. So here, like, his style is going to help me out and get better and better my style to where whenever I do fight somebody, I'll be prepared for a higher level fighter. You know, I'll better myself. He'll find the weakness that I have and help me correct it by doing him. If he tries to change to somebody else and fight like somebody else, it'd be impossible. You know, he can do him better than anybody else, but he can't mimic somebody else better than the other person could. So again, I just think it's a great training partner. It's a great person to have out here, man. His wrestling's good, his jiu-jitsu's good, he hits hard, and he doesn't back down. And as well, we were talking, we're the biggest 185ers in the entire roster. I think he takes number 1 though. He's
bigger than Rockhold?
I think
talking about, like,
Rockhold's going 205 though.
True,
but everybody that's around our weight is going 205. Anthony Smith moved up to 205. He was bigger than us.
You know, middleweight,
we're holding it
still
down.
I still have to give it some love because after these fights that took place, I had to start the rankings talk for our website.
Yeah.
And when you go from like way at the top and you start working your way through 10 and 15 and honorable mentions and all that, man, there really is still a whole shitload of talent. Whereas there's other divisions that I mean, you can't take anything away from lightweight. That's pretty solid. But, like, I was looking at our welterweight. There's the guys that are hanging on to the past a little bit. You know what I mean? Where there's still some credible wins that they have, but you can tell they're on the way out. But the guys, the young guns on the bottom that are, like, 5-1, but they're fighting in Europe or Brazil, and they're not gaining traction because they're not beating a ranked opponent.
Yeah.
They just don't have name power. But middleweight, seriously,
dude,
it's starting little by little. So, like, it's in charge of your champion. You have the biggest role to be a champion. You're the one that highlights the entire weight division. So, like, right now, since Tyron Woodley is out, like, it's hard for them to highlight the division and all that, you know, that talk for who's going to get the belt. They have, like, Kumar Usman, Ponzinibbio, Till, RDA. Like, they have them in the talks. So it's giving a little bit of light on the middleweight. But, you know, Robert Whitaker, he's a very humble guy, and he doesn't do a lot of press. So you don't really hear a lot about the middleweights. The people that are making the noise right now is Brad Tavares, Israel Adesanya, Eryk Anders, Lyoto Machida. These guys are the ones that are bringing more light to our card. Yeah, and if you look,
or I guess now he's Costa, right?
He's and Uriah Hall. Like, these guys are the ones that are starting to talk and bring more notoriety because, like, most people didn't realize the last card there's a couple middleweight fights on there.
Hermanson and
no one really knew.
Caesar.
They weren't paying attention to them. Caesar, Carl Robertson, like, there's a lot of middleweight fights that are coming up, and people aren't focusing on them because it's not being talked about. To where, like, if you talk about 55, everybody can go all day about 55 and 45 because Conor McGregor changed that whole entire division by sparking it up. Everybody wants to fight Conor and Khabib. You know, everybody wants to fight them. They have all this talk to where, all right, who's the best matchup for them? And we can go sit there and talk about it over and over. You got who is it? Kevin Lee. Everybody's talking about Kevin Lee there. Everybody's even talking about Michael Chandler, saying it would be a good matchup for Khabib. Then you're looking at Brian Ortega versus Max Holloway. There are all these big ones to see who will fight Conor McGregor.
Well, it's just a few weeks away, Whitaker and Romero, so that's going to shake things up a little bit. Do you middleweights think Gastelum should be next?
I do. Yeah, he's got a pretty good body of work, man. So I think it'd be fair.
Weidman finished him less than a year ago, but Weidman since then hasn't fought, whereas Gastelum went out and beat Bisping and now Jacare. I feel like he passed him up, even though he lost that head-to-head.
Yeah, he's staying busy, man. He's going out there, and that's the way I look at it. I mean, he went out there and defeated, the former champ, ended up knocking out Bisping right after. Controversial. Everybody didn't think he should have fought, but still he got the win. And then you have him coming in and beating Jacare, who is the top tier. I mean, who's after Jacare?
I thought he was done. Jacare got him to the ground with like 2 or 3 minutes left. I was like, oh, he's toast.
Yeah, he just kept coming.
He was actually able to get out of that storm. And then when Jacare got up, I couldn't believe how exhausted he was. I was like, really, Jacare? Like, you have better cardio than this, But he said it was a bad weight cut. He now lives in the United States.
Man, I think when he got sat down, that kind of zapped his energy.
That was in the second round, though.
Yeah.
Because even in between first and second, the coaches go, look, he's tired. Yeah. But as rocked as he was, he still could generate some pop, couldn't he?
I was shocked.
I was like, whoa.
I was shocked.
He really wanted that fight, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He really wanted that.
Because I think that was like the #1 contender fight. That fight would have put Jacare either going for the title
he had to have been, yeah.
gas him. And I think
because he's only lost to the 2 guys that are fighting.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, or at least as of late, I should say.
Yeah, and
Gastelum was playing with house money. I'm going to use a term here from Vegas. He's really a welterweight, and he's going to return to welterweight. At least that's what he keeps saying. So he was like, but you know what? Let me just ride this until someone smashes me, and then I'll just go and be a welterweight. He's got a split decision loss to Tyron Woodley. So it's not like he feels like the champ's way out there, out of his hemisphere. And he went out there, and he's doing his thing, man, as a middleweight.
Yeah, he's doing great, man, and I think he should be smart. I remember Tyron, he waited a year before he did anything before he could get his title fight. He wasn't taking fights in between. Everybody kept trying to set him up with these contender stuff, and he's like, no, I am the #1 contender. Put me with the champ, Robbie Lawler, and he sat there and waited an entire year. I think Gastelum should do the same thing.
Well, he did have the Hendricks fiasco. Remember, they did have the fight, and Hendricks missed weight completely. And so the fight never happened.
Oh, that's true.
So he did try and take the fight, and it was the opponent that didn't allow it to happen. And then you're right. By the time he fought, it was 18 months. A lot of people accuse him of sitting out 18 months, and not to be his cheerleader or his white knight. But I'm like, well, he did take the fight with Hendricks. It's just Hendricks had the weight problem.
I don't think I wouldn't put it being sitting out. I think it's him being patient because he deserved that. He won the right way, and he got it to where he needed to be that. He should be fighting for the title next, but people just kept pushing and pushing it, and it's like he waited patiently for his opportunity and capitalized on it. And look at him now, he's still the champ.
So all these names that we threw out, okay, how can you guys stay relevant with? There's just so many people. It's one card after another. They're all kind of wearing the same. It's a different era. You can't really point at. Remember the guy with the icicle on the shorts? That's Chuck Liddell. Or the fire? That's Tito Ortiz. I think a good start is your guys' nicknames are super catchy, and we've heard it. We've heard some of our listeners before go, "Oh, your boy, the Cuban." They remember you because of that. But outside of fighting, how do you guys? What are the things that you guys do to kind of stay out there?
Man, all I do is train. This is my life. I really don't do anything else but train. People keep asking me, "Oh, you going out to Vegas for business or pleasure?" I'm sure I'll have some fun, but the vast majority of this trip is going to be training.
Yeah, I agree with him, man. I didn't get into this for the fame. I don't care. Like, people someday will know who I am. Look up Darren Till. Most people didn't know he had multiple fights in the UFC before he fought Cerrone, and then
boom.
Look at him now. Someday it'll happen. It'll churn. Everybody's going to know who we are, and we're going to be, stuck there right now. We'll just have fun, keep focusing on ourselves. Because if you start worrying about the hype, then you start believing it, and then you don't.
We got to take a break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. We got Julian Marquez and Eryk Anders, UFC middleweights, in our studio.
Thank you. Far too kind.
It is.
Ready?
It is that part.
Let's see. Up, down, left, right. B-A, start. You told me that code would get rid of them. Yeah, well, they're still here. Okay, but now they know I tried to kill them. Hold on, Mom. Here are George and Goes.
Kentucky Derby winner Justified tries to capture the second jewel of the Triple Crown in Saturday's Preakness Stakes. Sirius XM's Rush 93's coverage starts Saturday at 10 Eastern with Down the Stretch. Then at 5 Eastern, go live to Baltimore for coverage of the Preakness on Channel 93 and on the Sirius XM app. We have Eryk Anders, no fight pending, here in studio with us, and we have Julian Marquez, has a fight pending. It's Alessio Di Chirico.
Yeah.
I think I was butchering it last time.
Yeah, you did good.
It's happening at the Tough Finale. And so they're hanging out for a couple weeks, and they're man. So I wanted to answer Goes' question for you. Asked them a question, and they answered it. But I want to applaud these guys, and I'll tell you why. You asked them about what they do to keep their name relevant, right?
Yeah. Really, what I was doing was unleashing a pit bull, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Well, I love studying the game outside of the cage, and your call out of Machida was brilliant, and you got what you wanted because you asked for it. You know what I mean? Baby that doesn't cry doesn't get fed.
Yeah.
And then Julian, I have to applaud you, not because it's our show. I mean, I really appreciate you coming by, but he's keeping his name out there because this is a chance for us to recap anything he says in regards to his fight. But it was proactive. You just reached out and said, hey, I want to pop back in. You're still far away enough from your fight that, you know, you can come in and not sacrifice the session, you know. And then you're bringing Eryk Anders, so, you know, this is clicking. This is all cool. And I think a lot of fighters just don't do that, man. You know, that's a really important part of the game to keep yourself out there, whether you're driven by the belt or money. Once these fights are over, we move on. Right. The fans and the media, we move on. It's like what happened in Rio. Oh, yeah, Amanda Nunes and the coach, should he have done this? Or, all right, Chile next week. Fuck, man. Kamaru Usman, you know what I mean? And the fans are thinking the same thing.
Sure.
And so we start to forget. I think your fight was in February, right?
Yep.
I mean, think about how long ago that was. Eryk Anders hasn't really been said much. So I think fighters need to do stuff. Now, some have the opportunities. They have their own podcast. They're on Fox or whatever, you know. Maybe they're just polarizing social media people. I don't know. But the ones that aren't have to be a little bit proactive. Sure. So I think that's two things they did. You know, he did his with an excellent call out after his previous win, previous fight, and then Julian staying active. You know, he obviously had fun the first time and he's back. So yeah, good job, guys.
Thank you.
You want to do our daily debate with us?
Let's do it.
We did it last time, so you know what's up. Eryk will catch on.
All right.
All right, so today's daily debate question brought to you by the MMAjunkie radio team, minus Dan Tom. He sacrificed his mic. Thank you, Dan. If Chuck Liddell comes out of retirement to fight Tito Ortiz and wins, do you want to see him fight John Jones? You go first.
I don't even really want to see him fight Tito Ortiz, okay? But I kind of get maybe where they're coming from. I mean, he's up 2-0 on the guy, but they did have that one fight where they were going to fight and it didn't happen. Okay, I could see that. Tito's hands aren't the heaviest hands in the world. Fine, I can put up with that fight. But John Jones, we're talking about one of the greatest mixed martial artists that ever lived. He can do a lot of damage in a fight. And I just don't see, I mean, that's going towards somebody that's been training every single day. You know, somebody that's ranked would say that, let alone a guy that hasn't fought in a while. I don't know that that's a good place to have him.
Julian Marquez?
I don't even know. You're trying to say, like, how do you stay relevant? That right there. This conversation we're having. Chuck Liddell comes out of retirement, fights Tito Ortiz. The winner of that fights John Jones. Like, I don't want to see that. I don't want to see.
Do you even want to see the Ortiz fight?
I don't really care for it. I like where they're at. I just feel like they're trying right now. They're trying way too much to fight. Like, they don't need to. They're legends in our sport, but they're coming back because obviously it has to be about money. Because when you come back, these guys will get paid way more than most of everybody else. If I see him and Chuck Liddell fight again, that would be pretty cool. It was kind of like Frank Mir and Fedor Emelianenko. There's a lot of emotions in that fight because it was supposed to happen, or there was a talk whenever we were younger. So I wouldn't mind seeing that, but seeing one of them, the winner of that, take on John Jones, is just like, no, I wouldn't watch that. I wouldn't watch it at all.
If Chuck Liddell could go back a few years, then yeah, that'd be a straight fight to watch between him and John Jones. But I think John Jones would obliterate Chuck Liddell at this point. So
yeah, I'm with you guys.
I know Chuck Liddell said he wanted a few warm-up fights after that Tito fight. I could fight at 205 pretty easily, so I'll fight Chuck Liddell.
There you go. He's taking a chance, taking an opportunity there. I agree with you guys. I don't really want to see them fight again. I think we've seen the best of Liddell and Tito, and it's been years. But if they fight, I'll watch.
Yeah,
if Chuck wins and the John Jones matchup is not even realistic because Dana would not allow it to happen. John's got those other troubles, but let's just say they could. I don't, but I agree with Eryk. Put him in a time machine and give me prime Chuck versus current John or whatever. I'd like to see that fight.
I still think John wins that fight, though.
I do as well. We actually talked about it yesterday, but a lot of people said that it's a blowout and Chuck doesn't stand a chance, and I disagreed with that. I thought Chuck had enough power that all you got to do is put one on somebody, right?
Yeah, but John Jones don't get hit too much.
Right.
So.
Yeah. All right, there you have it, folks. That's the Daily Debate brought to you by the MMA Junkie Radio team and 2 UFC middleweight standouts, Eryk Anders and Julian Marquez. The results are 2,593 of you voted. 81% said, no, I don't want to see Chuck Liddell fight John Jones should he beat Tito Ortiz. And 19 of you said yes. All right, so check this out.
The Chuck fans.
Yeah. Eryk, I always ask this of the in-studio guests. Can you share a good street fight story with us? You're up to the podium.
Yeah, all right. So I used to live in Colorado, in Denver.
Oh, I thought this was going to be
Fort Collins.
Alabama-Auburn one, but okay. All right, give us a Colorado one.
I got plenty, but this fight in particular is my favorite.
Okay.
So, man, this little dude, man, tiny, probably, smaller than you. I'm just, standing there minding my own business, and, he's walking backwards.
Where were you at?
In a bar in Fort Collins, Colorado. And, man, I wasn't drinking. I was, completely sober. I was just standing there just chatting it up, chit-chatting, whatever. And, man, this little dude, man, he just backs up and he steps on my shoes or whatever. So I kind of, he's like, hey, bro. And he said, oh, we got a problem. We got a problem.
Just like that?
Yeah. So he's like, he kind of reminded me of Kevin Hart. And, man, so this dude, he walks off, and I'm watching him the whole time. I can see, he's trouble. Man, so he goes there to this little, the people he's with, and, you see him pointing. It's like, oh, shit. So you already know it's finna go down. So all of them, about 8 of them, they all come over there.
Hey, was it a hard shove you gave him?
Nah, it was
you
just
weren't in any way out of line. He got his toes stepped on. All you're saying is
I was saying just stop walking backwards. You're bumping into me.
I see.
And I was cool about it, but
what a hothead.
Yeah,
you got a problem. All right.
He probably had like a Napoleon complex or something.
That's how we roll.
They man, they just all of them. They came walking across the thing and said, "Hey, we got a problem. We got a problem." And I was just like, "Hey, no, it ain't even like that."
What kind of backup did you have?
Man, I was playing arena football, so I had some. I was there with some teammates.
Oh, okay.
But at this point in time, I'm solo.
Oh.
Because everybody's all scattered out.
Yeah.
Drinking, having a good time or whatnot. So, man, so I put my hands out and I was like, hey, it's just him. And as soon as one of them touched my hand, I just decked him. I already know it's 8-on-1, so I'm not, I'm not taking that L. And if I do take an L, someone's going to whip me. And this huge brawl ensues. Then my teammates come over there. We start fighting. And, man, so my friend hit somebody, and this dude's, like, crawling on the floor, army crawling on the floor, and, like, he grabs me by my feet. So I'm, like, bent over. I'm hitting this dude, and his friend just wound up, and, you can boom, bow, right in the nose. And, I ain't get knocked out or nothing, but, I definitely had to regain my composure. My eyes started watering. And about that time, the lights cut on, big fight breaking out, and everybody just bucked.
All right, so you got some shots in, but someone bus driver uppercutted you.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
Why was the guy bear crawling? Was he like Dave Chappelle?
He got laid out.
Why you do that to my legs, Eryk Anders?
Yeah, so this dude, he's literally like hugging my legs on the ground as I'm hitting him, and as I look up, he threw it from his ass too, from the ground. Boom! Right.
I like it.
That's the worst feeling.
I like it. That's a good one.
Ooh, shit!
There was no head movement at that time. It was just.
I went to a country bar once
because
there was a girl that I worked with that invited me. It was her birthday, and otherwise I wouldn't be seen in one. But I was there in casual shoes because I didn't have boots or the attire or nothing like that. But I was like, okay. So I'm there, and I felt out of place. Everyone was in country attire, but she was a work colleague. She was
You didn't
cute.
have your belt buckle, your...
No, nothing. I was not prepared. But either way, she goes, do you want to go dance? And I go, all right. And they were doing this line dance. And so I thought it was going to be like close, grind. I mean, what I'm used to, I guess.
Yeah.
But if anything, she goes, follow me. And she put my hands on her hips. And we're just doing the, I don't know, what's that, the cha-cha, the two-step, the something. And I'm doing it, and then you got to do this. And then there's a point in the song where you go, boom, with your boot. And everybody does it. It sounds pretty cool. So we would do it, and then boom. But, of course, I couldn't do it because I have casual shoes on. So, anyway, I'm trying to follow, doing this. And then when I should have went left, I think I went right. And that's when everyone went boot left. And some big fucking 6'6" cowboy, like Haas, like a Haas-type character. He didn't do it on purpose. He just went boom, and he caught my foot, man. It hurt so bad. So as you were telling that story, like my right foot, my toes were just cringing, and I was cringing.
Did you do like the Tomcat? Or you were
dude, I had the whole. I was like,
wow.
I held it. I was still trying to hold on to her hips. And then I kind of said, I'm not feeling this or something. I don't know what I said. I excused myself. I don't even know if I said bye because I thought my foot was broken, and I think tears were gonna come down
with a
my
straight
eyes.
cowboy.
Did the guy say anything?
No, he just kind of like the my bad, like he wishes he would have stopped. He was a nice guy, but we were all still in motion. I was trying to play it off, but then the next couple steps told me I was in trouble.
He's probably laughing his ass off with his friend.
Oh, he had to
that
be.
That there Mexican wearing them slippers
will
step right on his foot.
Wearing them slippers.
Howled like the moon.
Who do you want, though, Eryk? You don't have an opponent, but you're always good about throwing out a name. Things have changed here in the last few weeks. You like any of them cats from last weekend or any other names?
I like that Mutanchi fight.
There you go.
But I'm down to fight anybody in the division at any time on any card. Just give me like 2 or 3 weeks to cut weight, and I'll show up. I'll be there, and everything's all good. So, but
where would you like to fight Cesar Mutanchi?
Not in Brazil. Anywhere, I would fight in Brazil. I know they're going to Sao Paulo, but I want to fight like 4 times a year. And we're already coming up on the halfway mark of the year, so I'd like to get a fight in,
How about you versus Cesar Mutanchi, International Fight Week, UFC 226?
Let's do it.
The only problem is I'm not sure I can get you on the main. I know I can't get you on the main card.
Man, make a phone call.
Fox Sports will be close, but a big card like that, would you even accept Fight Pass? Or are you picky about where you fight?
Not at all. Not at all. I think a win over somebody like that, now we'll be back on the main.
I think he's 4-1 in his last 5, right? Yeah, he's got a little bit of steam ever since Masvidal sent him back up. Because remember, he dropped the fight at welterweight to Masvidal. Yeah. But he's been doing real good as a middleweight.
I want to fight Elias Theodoro. But like I said, man, I know he's got a fight coming up or whatever. I guess he fights this week, right?
Who, Elias?
Yeah.
He is on Chile.
Is he
or
fighting?
Liverpool?
Yeah,
Liverpool. You're right.
That's next week.
That's next week.
Yeah.
Who's he fighting?
I can look it up. Let me see.
I didn't know he was fighting.
Can you look it up, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to ask you guys this. This rubbed me the wrong way the other day. I like the guy, but Dean Thomas wrote to all my brothers. Oh, we got to take a break?
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. We got to take a quick break. You're listening to MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93. Stay close. We'll be right back. I'll read you guys this tweet. We got a couple fighters here, some media guys here. Maybe we can talk this out. Otherwise, we might have a problem.
All right.
It's MMA Junkie Radio on Sirius XM Rush 93.
They taught Andy Griffith how to whistle. Here are Gorgeous George and Goes.
Tune in to NBA Radio, Series 207 XM86, and listen for the hourly cue to call for your chance to win airfare, hotel accommodations, and 2 tickets to Game 4 of the NBA Finals. For official rules and details, go to SiriusXM.com/SiriusXM NBA Radio before May 22nd. Congrats to the Houston Rockets for evening things up last night versus the Golden State Warriors. Also, the Vegas Golden Knights, they're up 2-1 over Winnipeg. So, lots going down yesterday.
When do they play here again?
Friday. You going?
Yeah.
I would love to go.
Shit, that's expensive. They ain't cheap tickets, especially now they got all the heat on them.
So here's the deal. If
Like
you want to sit way at the top and you don't mind, you can probably get in for about 80 to 200, depending on where you are in the top level.
Do they have tickets
If you
left?
want a pretty decent seat, then you're probably looking at about the 200 to 500 range.
So we watching this from the couch. I got you.
Yeah,
That's all I heard.
Dude, we can go right outside.
Neither
we can go
one
right
get-
outside of. Look, I support the Vegas Knights all day, but I'd rather spend that money on my coach to give me a little bit more time to prepare for my fight. You know, look, they're in it right now. They're in it to win it. Let them do their thing, and I'll support them every day at home. Let them support me on what I'm trying to do. You know, I'm trying to be a champion like them.
Okay. I mean, that means you're out too?
Yeah. I just can't rationalize.
What's the
spending
most you would pay
$500.
for a ticket?
Depends on who it is. If I
The Vegas Golden Knights.
The Vegas Golden Knights. See, the thing is like I went there and I dropped $100 on a ticket, and
you got value back, right? They entertained
yeah,
you.
it wasn't bad. We actually lost that night, so I can't go see another.
I'm
this season,
0-3, so I'm the jinx.
So yeah, I can't go see that because I watched them. I was there and they lost, so I can't go back there. But if we're talking about like a game that I follow and pay attention to, like I put in a good amount of money. Like again, you know, Taylor Swift ticket, I would drop $500 on the ticket.
Yeah.
You know.
You feeling that, Dan?
I'm not above that. But I don't know. How much would you drop to see Alabama play in the national
To
final?
watch Alabama play? No, bro. I got to make a phone call. Like, hey.
But if you had to pay for it, what would you do? What would you drop?
Man, I don't know. I know that people spend like $2,000 on some of those tickets.
Wow.
You know,
I'm
real.
definitely
Who are your
not spending
squads,
that.
by the way? What about the pro teams? Who do you like in football?
Man, I really don't have a favorite team. I just follow guys that I played with, like Julio Jones, Mark Ingram. Those
Heard of
guys.
them?
Yeah.
What about basketball? Do you care who wins the NBA?
Not at all.
Hockey?
Well, I mean, I like the Golden Knights.
Oh, yeah? You in?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. A lot of people have adopted the Vegas Golden Knights. Like our
Sweetheart story, man.
Excuse me?
Sweetheart story.
Our general manager at SiriusXM for our channel, Marissa, she's out in Jersey, and she's a hardcore Vegas Golden Knights. But I've noticed a lot of people all over the country just love the story of an expansion team, and they took care of business and started winning.
Last time I was here, I was hanging out with Chef Floyd a lot. And that's all he does is watch sports, and so he kind of turned me on to the Golden Knights.
The guys have agreed to stick around for a couple minutes. We're going to do a couple minutes of overtime. SiriusXM audience, we will see you all tomorrow. Andrew Simon, the CEO of Access TV Fights, he will be our co-host for the day. We'll also catch up with Roy Nelson and 2 standouts from LFA, Than Lee, who will headline their 400 show, and Macy Barber. Also, I think Brian Stan will be joining us. So, SiriusXM audience, we'll catch you tomorrow. The rest of you, overtime coming up.
I got this music in my mind saying it's gonna be alright. Cause the player's gonna play, and the haters gonna hate, baby. I'm just gonna shake.
Guys, it's clear.
What if she tweets
Guys,
you?
clear for overtime.
What if she tweets you and goes, I heard you're a fan, and I'm actually a fan of you. What would you write her back? What would be that first tweet?
Oh man, what would be that first tweet?
Ring emoji.
Yeah.
Kisses.
Little of that smiley face with the kiss, the little heart kiss there. Oh,
Ring
we're
emoji's
fans.
funny.
We'll just be like, come to the next UFC. We'll take you on a date for some coffee or something. I don't know.
There you go.
We'll see.
Come check out my next fight. I like it.
Yeah.
I got you a ticket.
I got you a ticket.
We'll finish.
Front row.
What if she goes, I want to go to the Vegas Golden Knights game?
We'd go.
Take me?
Oh, I'd go. If I was taking her, yeah, I would go.
But Eric's not worth it, though, huh?
No, Eryk
he really wanted to go, and you're like, you shut it down quickly. Let's finish with this, guys, and I know you guys got to get out of here. Dean Thomas, former fighter, respected as a fighter, respected as a coach. He's with American Top Team. He writes, to all my brothers and sisters that has ever stepped in the cage to fight. So that's you guys. Always remind yourself, the fans, and especially MMA media, that's us, will forever talk trash on you. But no matter how much they wish they could, they will never know what that cage canvas feels like on their feet. That's all true. We won't know that. But I don't know that everybody, that was such a blanket, you know, to cover everyone. For one, not all MMA media talk trash. And just staying with that, I feel fighters are really sensitive at times when we're just being critical. But I think fighters are one of the most sensitive breed out of all of the athletes in all of the sports. Would you guys agree?
I think that's because it's like an individual sport.
Right.
You can't be like, oh, he fumbled the ball, he missed a free throw.
Right.
Yeah, bro, you just got slept. You just got knocked out. You know, you're not going to feel good about yourself.
Right.
But I think, you know, he addressed fans as well, right? Not
Fans
just the media.
too,
Yeah. Yeah, fans, you know. But
I wish he would have backed off a little bit. Sorry, Eryk, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, I think you got to be bulletproof in this. 'Cause now, even after my Machida fight, it would be like, oh, you pussy. You know, that was a boring fight. You know, I was like, man, you probably never even been in you know, you don't even know what's going on. So, you know, I don't care. It's kind of water off a duck's back to me.
Yeah.
So, you know,
What do you think?
it is.
You know, I agree. I like sitting there. No matter what anybody like says, like all the media and stuff, there's always going to be people that are going to like you. There's always going to be people that don't like you, and there's always going to be people that don't really care. You're never going to change that. So, like you said, you have to be, you know, water off the duck's back. You know, just let it slide, because that's the whole purpose. Like they're analyzing you. They're going to tell you what you did wrong. They're going to point that out, and you know, as fighters, you're always dominant. You're always dominant. So it's hard to take that, you know, criticism.
Yeah.
A lot
It
of
is
people
an
can't put
individual
it down.
sport,
Yeah.
and sometimes you have to wait 3 to 6 months to make it right again.
Yeah.
A baseball guy can have a great game the next day, or a
Yeah,
football guy
exactly.
only has to wait 1 week when they're
Yeah.
in season.
And he's got, you know, 80 chances in a game. You know, there's like 80 plays in a football game.
Yeah.
So,
But I'm not a professional
80-yard
football
touchdown.
player, much less a quarterback. But I know when I see a quarterback throw a bad pass, and I feel like I'm entitled to, if I'm covering it, or even as a fan, to go, oh, man, that was a bad pass.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I feel like I wish fighters would just let us, some fighters would let us do our job and just say, man, that just wasn't your best effort that night. Some will know how to say it, and others will go, you suck. But most MMA media isn't like that.
Sure.
You know, it's people that I think they're media. They just blog maybe, or they're actual fans.
The word talk trash on there, I think he could have used something different, because it's not really talking trash. It's just how people perceive talking trash, you know, like no one's really talking trash. Like when he called out Machida, he wasn't talking trash. He was just like, yo, I want to do that. But everyone's like, oh, you're calling him out. You're this, you're that. It's like, no, he just called him out because he liked that matchup.
Right.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yeah.
But again, people would take it as that. Like anytime if anybody ever called me out, I'd be pumped. I think that's awesome, because that means someone wants to fight me. That means they're ready to go. So, yeah, I guess we are sensitive at times.
Can I weigh in on this?
yeah.
Just coming from a unique position, because this was something that I almost was going to bring up with the Raquel Pennington thing that people weren't talking about, which is the fighter psychology of these kind of situations, which is different. Because I agree, like Eryk said, you know, it's not like it's a team sport, and just from somebody who's just done martial arts, you know, some form of it since '92, and my sample size of people from coaches, competitors, fellow competitors, the people that martial arts tends to draw, they're not exactly, you know, if we're going to paint with the stereotype, there's plenty of smart, talented, well-educated, all that, sure, but they're not necessarily going to have the biggest college, you know, academic phenoms, right? A lot of them might not be great with people person. They might come from a troubled background, troubled neighborhoods, socioeconomic classes, all these things that factor into it. They might not have been, even if they're a good athlete, we've seen it. These guys talk about it, we'll joke, you know, we've seen, you know, on the tough shows, when it comes time to shoot the basketball, we've seen the greatest athletes in our sport not do good at quote-unquote other sports. They might not have translated as well. So there's a whole kind of independence thing that really, you know, Eryk kind of nailed there, as far as like, that has a weight on you. And as far as the Din Thomas thing, I find it interesting, because I'm a big fan. I've always been a big fan of Din Thomas as a fighter, in his transition as a coach. But it's weird, because I find myself in a weird spot, and this is where I want you guys to jump in and where you guys feel on this, because we even hear fighters that make the role where they jump from the fighter side to the media side and you ask them, we had DC, we had Kenny Florian, all these guys on here, and they say, but we love the job. Worst part of it, picking against our fellow people, and that's something that I have trouble with. Now, I've never fought on the pro level. I've only fought amateur, but just it's hard to, I find myself struggling because I come from that world. I would consider myself a martial artist first, but I work in the media world and I go by these rules, and I agree. Not all of us talk trash, and we all should have some type of reverence for the fighters. But where do you guys stand on that? I mean, as far as having guys that are not stepping in the cage, saying this, picking this, writing analysis, saying this on this show, or whatever medium it is.
Man, if it's somebody who's fought before and kind of understands the psychological part as well as the physical part, then their opinion is valid. But, if you're living in grandma's basement drinking Mountain Dew and eating Cheetos, then what can you tell me?
Right.
That's how I feel about it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm giving them a job. That's their job, right? That's what they like to do. That's what they're aspiring to do, whether they are at home, doing all that, eating Cheetos, drinking Mountain Dews and stuff, and then putting their opinion on social media. That's them just trying to get into that world and trying to figure out how to go about it. I don't care, man. Like, come up with your assessment, do all your stuff, say exactly what you feel, how you feel. It's not going to hurt me. It doesn't bother me because everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I like hot, spicy, hot sauce. You like mild. We're never going to see eye to eye, and you're never going to convince me to go down and not drink or not eat habanero peppers, to go to just regular peppers. You know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't matter to me. That's your opinion. That's what you own. That's your thoughts, and people like to listen to what you say. So just have at it. Say what you need to say.
Well, we like hearing it from the fighters, so this is why it's kind of great to get your guys' answers. Obviously, you guys can sentiment with not just we're not picking on Den Thomas, by the way, at all, because plenty of fighters come out and have a similar response. So I think that's what you bring it up for, right, George?
I thought he was wrong.
Okay, all right.
I don't believe that. I believe our opinions are valid, whether we have stepped in it or haven't, because we've seen enough fights to know a great performance when we see it, and we'll be the first to come in on Monday and go, man, that was a great performance. But if we see one that wasn't, I'm sorry, that's the truth. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I think a lot of fighters prefer that honesty rather than the sugarcoat.
Be
in fact,
real.
fucking fighters come in and tell us, oh, I stunk it up in my life. How many times have they said that, right? You know how many times I've heard a fighter come in and go, best camp ever, and then we'll go like, we'll interview him 2 years later and then go, oh, I was going through a phase, man. I wasn't even training, and all the truth comes out. So from your guys' side, again, not all, some are disingenuous or don't put their best, and they admit it to us years later. It's like they just don't remember that they're saying that. But fans in this sport are smart. Media members in this sport are sometimes smart. And therefore, I think that's why we're able to, sift through the facts, figure things out, and what's
whether
right,
you
what's
fight, whether you fight or you don't fight. I mean, if you're a fan of the sport and you watch it, some of your facts might not be, backed by being able to be in the cage and knowing how the feeling and everything is. But if you know your shit, then you know your shit. There's nothing.
Like, I'll give you an example.
Some of the best coaches,
DC
never
and
played.
Dominic, are great analysts.
Oh, they are.
They're great when they're at the Fox desk or whether they're cage side calling the fights. But then go, who do you think's gonna win? And if their teammates in there, they'll go, my teammate. They just can't bring themselves to say that, and they're paid a lot of money to do it. But they can't bring themselves to go against AKA or Alliance Gym down in San Diego.
Hard.
You know what I mean? Because the camaraderie. Well, okay, hold on a second. You see what I'm saying?
It's hard, man. It's completely hard. No matter what, you're going against your team. That's like going against family, because that's essentially what it is. Like, the entire camp, you have been training this person to beat the other person.
I get it, yeah.
You're not going to be like, oh, actually, we've been working together, but I think so and so is going to win.
But Fox is paying you to be an analyst, right?
They're paying you to be an analyst, but at the same time, like,
they're human.
They're human, and you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not gonna. No matter how terrible the matchup is, no matter whatever.
So think about it then. If you guys can't bring yourself to pick up against your opponent, and we can't say any criticism because we've never stepped in there, the fans are sitting at home saying, "Well, then who's spitting the truth then?"
But again, it goes back to the thing when we talked about earlier that MMA is the toughest sport to bet on because you never know. You know what I mean? You never know what's going to happen. Like, dude, I love Ricardo Lamas. I think he's amazing. But when he fought Emmett, no one saw that happen.
I know.
Right. Yeah,
no one saw that happen that night.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I bet you your whole entire analyst and everything did not predict that situation.
No way.
Okay.
But
Exactly.
and to Julian's point, it's true.
Uriah
I mean,
Faber called it, huh? But that's his teammate.
Yeah, to Julian's point, I mean, what's there's a proverb that I'm going to mess up here, forgive me, but there was one of those Chinese proverbs where the man who knows most kind of saying the less. And those who have been in there, kind of to your point, what you're saying, but I guess kind of tracking back and find a middle ground here. I like something you said earlier where you're pointing, again, not picking on Dean Thomas, but you're saying I would have used maybe a different word here or there. And I think that's the key, is kind of having that communication for not just it's a two-way street for us to understand the fighters, because if the media understands the fighters, it helps the fan understands the fighters, because I think, the media like say, well, we're just reporting what you're saying, and then fighters can get mad, and there's that whole thing there. But yes, media being fair and taking responsibility, we're fair. We realize that a lot of what we put out there can help shape the fans' perception. Now, does that mean we're responsible for the jerks that are mouthing off to you after you lost Machida? No,
but I think that's what he's talking about, is maybe the verbiage and vocabulary that's used.
Yes.
There's a big difference between Eryk fought like a pussy or Eryk fought a little too tentatively.
Yes, 100%.
I think
100%.
that's the
100%.
road that he's going down,
And I think that just just I'm speaking out loud here. Forgive me, you guys tell me what you think. You said you're full of shit, but I think that just opening that dialogue helps better. Because, for example, for me, and it's a hard thing, even when you do understand. For me, I like to think that I understand. I told myself that, okay, you're going to piss people off. You're going to piss fighters off that you like, fighters off that you don't know, across the board by just picking against them. You have to accept that if that you're going to make that your quote unquote job, and how you're going to contribute. Okay, fine. And part of me tells myself, well, how fighters are wired. You're wired like you need a chip on your shoulder too. And people, media, you'll hear media fans be like, why is this guy so sensitive? And they'll use it against the fighter, not understanding all that goes into it. Whereas I do, but even though I tell myself like, okay, I'm not gonna, take it personal or this or that. It is a weird bridge to to be gapped, because I'm sorry I'm not articulating this the best, because when you do, go front on it's hard not to see it black and white, like you're saying, because these are valid points you guys are saying. If you can get so much from watching tape, but unless you've been in there, there's things where I'm watching tape where it goes beyond did that guy land a punch or not. You can see there's another layer there, and you only know that because you've been beat up to the point where someone made you want to quit. Someone pushed you to your limit. Unless you didn't put yourself there, how are you supposed to expect to read that? So I agree with what you guys are saying, but I guess just trying to find some middle ground here. I just think this dialogue's kind of important, especially more so for your guys, and I would say, because I feel like you guys don't get the understanding and respect a lot of times from a lot of circles that you guys maybe deserve.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, man. It's the fight world. It's ever changing and ever evolutionizing. So when people have to talk about you and they have to put analyzing and everything, but they don't know who the hell you are really, they're going based upon last stuff. They're not going to be able to do anything. You're going to look at stats. They're going to read up here and be like, all right, this is how, okay. And they're going to basically go off of paper. And on paper, a lot of people lose on paper, but a lot of people win off paper. You know what I mean? Like,
thanks for staying a couple minutes in the discussion, and thanks for bringing Eryk by. Thanks for coming by, Eryk.
Appreciate you guys.
Can't wait to see your next fight, and hopefully it is Caesar at UFC 226 here in Vegas,
great.
or maybe out at Staples Centers in LA. That's UFC 227.
The 28th, July 28th.
No, that's August 4th.
Which one?
July 28th is
Calgary.
that's Calgary.
Calgary, yeah.
That one just got their new headline bout. Who just got signed for that? Oh, Poirier.
Yeah.
Poirier.
Oh yeah.
Alvarez.
Coming
That's
strong.
what it was.
That's a sick fight. And Jeremy Stevens, Jose Aldo, and Joanna's coming back. She's fighting Tisha, I think, right?
I think that's on that card too. Yeah, that's a stacked card, man. They're coming strong to Calgary.
Let's go.
All right, guys. We got to get out of here. I want to thank our guests today, Mike Trizano. Yeah, I got that right. Winner on last night's episode of Tough. Julian Marquez, Eryk Anders, and Michael Venom Page. He called in from overseas. And tomorrow, again, we'll be here with Andrew Simon from Access TV. He's their CEO, and Roy Nelson. So stay close. Stay with us. And see you tomorrow. It's the MMA Junkie Radio Show on Sirius XM Rush 93. Go out there and be a champion.